Seeing my husband, who usually never showed tears, shedding them moved something inside me. Despite having paid off a massive debt of $200,000 together, rebuilding the nostalgic diner in my husband's hometown, and even building a comfortable two-family home for my mother-in-law, the news that all of it was to be handed over to my brother-in-law brought up feelings of shock and anger. I absolutely cannot accept this. I won't remain silent any longer. I'll make them regret this. With my heart racing, I picked up my cell phone. The first step of my strategy against them begins now. My name is Mia. At 30, I am hustling every day at a bustling management consulting firm in the city center. On the other hand, my beloved husband, Michael, showcases his skills as an assistant chef at a well-reputed restaurant. He's a man of few words, but has a warm heart. That day, we spent a delightful dinner time at our cozy home with our mutual friend, Rachel. Wait, seriously? You guys are moving back to your hometown? She exclaimed, swirling her wine glass. Yes, we're concerned about Michael's father's health. Michael will be taking over the family diner and we'll start our new life there, I replied with a smile. Mia, I'm truly sorry you would have to quit your job, but that diner is special to me. It's where my father introduced me to the world of cooking. Michael, I understand, but Rachel, slightly annoyed, picked at the vibrant dish Michael had meticulously prepared. Rachel and Michael grew up near the serene beaches of a city in Kei Prefecture. I first met her on our university campus after she moved to the city for her studies. Born into a wealthy family, Rachel is bubbly and a bit naive. She appears carefree but has an enigmatic charm that draws people to her. But we're quite different. We hit it off instantly. It was Rachel who excitedly introduced Michael to me, saying, "You two would be perfect together." But I feel a bit sad. Mia, you're working hard in the business world, and Michael is a chef at an amazing restaurant. Weren't you guys dreaming and planning for the future? Are you sure it's okay? Thank you for your concern, Rachel. But times have changed, and with technology advancements, I can work from home. More than anything, I want to be by Michael's side, supporting him. Come on, cheer up. Next time you visit, we'll treat you to Michael's cooking. Look forward to it. Thanks, Mia. Should we pour some more wine? As Michael walked to the kitchen, he said with a smile, "Sure thing." After that, Rachel gently grabbed my arm and whispered, "Mia, I'm a bit worried, but I know you'll be okay. Stay strong." At that heartwarming moment, I realized how blessed I was to have such a wonderful friend. A mix of excitement and anticipation enveloped us as we began our new life. We soon relocated to our new home in a city. The future holds uncertainties, and little did we know what was waiting for us. In the hospital room, my father-in-law looked astonishingly frail. "Michael, the doctor says I don't have much time left." He was a man of few words, but shared a deep bond with Michael, showing love more through actions and expressions than words. He dedicated his life to cooking, and his only hobby was collecting plates. "Dad, we're here with you." "Yes, we're here for you. Please, don't worry." With Michael's gentle smile and comforting hand, my father-in-law seemed to relax. "Michael, you're truly blessed. You found a wonderful wife." His kind words deeply touched me, and I felt tears welling up. Just then, the door burst open. "Oh, you're here? You should have told me. I have something to discuss," my mother-in-law said, sounding somewhat angry. I was aware of her high blood pressure and was worried getting upset might make it worse. Born into a somewhat renowned family in the town, she was doted on by her grandparents. She's a bit self-centered, and it seemed my father-in-law often yielded to her. Michael's relationship with his mother was also a bit complicated. Michael resembles his father, while on the other hand, his younger brother Peter looks just like their mother. This is why my mother-in-law has always been fond of Peter and often treated Michael coldly. To be honest, I was also bothered by her occasional whims. "Actually, I'm worried about the diner, especially about the finances," my mother-in-law began. As she spoke, the situation revealed itself to be more serious than we imagined. Mother-in-law owns the diner and lives on the second floor of the building where it is located. The diner was situated in a rural town with few similar establishments around, and thanks to father-in-law's cooking skills, it was very popular among the locals. However, managing it wasn't easy. With my father-in-law's declining health, there were more days when he couldn't cook. Meanwhile, mother-in-law's old apartment next door suffered termite damage. Because it was a precious property to her, it was demolished and repaired at a huge cost, leading to a staggering debt of $200,000. "Mom, why didn't you take action before it came to this?" exclaimed Michael. "You could have just sold the land or the diner." But mother-in-law, with tears in her eyes, replied, "This land and the diner have been protected by our ancestors. I can't just give them up, and I hope the diner that your father worked so hard to protect can continue." At that moment, Michael's eyes filled with sadness. But I squeezed his hand and reassured him, "It's okay. Let's figure it out together." And so, our new challenge began. Actually, I had inherited $250,000 from my father. When I suggested using it to repay the debt, Michael shed tears of gratitude. The money was for my dream, but we decided to use it to build our new life together. Michael's cooking truly reminded everyone of father-in-law's flavors. The locals commented, "This flavor is nostalgic," and were delighted. I used my previous job experience to renovate the parking lot, redecorate the interior, and promote the diner online. Its popularity soared. Thanks to a nearby tourist attraction, our diner quickly became a local hotspot. However, amidst this fortune, we faced a devastating event. Father-in-law, who had been ill, peacefully passed away. The only ones by his side were Michael and me. In his eyes, relief and sadness mingled. "Michael, the diner, take care of your mother." His voice was faint, and his words were fragmented, but his feelings came through clearly. "Don't worry, Dad. I will cherish and continue it." Michael responded. Tears welled up in our eyes as we witnessed the father-in-law's last moments. On the day of the funeral, mother-in-law's face was shrouded in deep sorrow. Beside her, Peter and his wife, Michelle, were quietly conversing. All the funeral arrangements became our responsibility, and amidst the bustle, Peter cracked a little joke. "Mia, you're so reliable, being a former career woman. But it must be nice to have taken over the dinner." His words had a hint of envy. Michael had overcome his youthful difficulties with his father's support and his own efforts. On the other hand, Peter seemed to have had an easier path, growing up with the abundant love of their mother. Now, Peter works in sales in the next town and seems to be living happily with his wonderful wife. Both of us graduated from business schools, but my university turned out to be slightly more prestigious. Perhaps that's what bothers Peter a little? He occasionally teases or makes sarcastic remarks. It seems his mother never told him about our struggles or debts, so he might not know the true extent of our efforts. His words occasionally annoy me, but I've decided not to let my emotions get the better of me. Then, one day, I suddenly heard Michelle scream. Rushing over, we found mother-in-law collapsed on the ground, her face pale. Everyone panicked, and we immediately called an ambulance. At the hospital, we learned she had suffered a stroke. She had hypertension, and the combined stress and lack of sleep likely contributed. Fortunately, her life wasn't in danger, but she suffered mild paralysis and would need our support from now on. On the evening before the month memorial of my father-in-law, my mother-in-law called us to the living room and made a surprising proposal. "Hey, we finally settled the debt issue, and the diner seems really busy. Doesn't it? If it's okay, I've been thinking about building a house on the apartment site where the whole family can live. I'm getting older, and living on the second floor is tough for me. We have your father's insurance money, so I thought maybe we could use a bit of it." I was a bit taken aback by this suggestion. Having just repaid the debt, I hadn't expected such a big proposal. But there's some truth to what my mother-in-law says. Living on the second floor might be tough for her. We also pay quite a rent for our apartment located a bit far away. Moreover, with proper planning, we might be able to expand the shop a bit more. And then the last words of my father-in-law come to mind. His heartfelt wish was for the family to get along and to keep the diner going. For that reason, even if I didn't get along with my mother-in-law, I decided to give it my all. After much consideration, we decided to move forward with building a two-family house. We have the insurance money my father-in-law left us, but it might not be enough on its own. In the end, we used almost all of the savings we had accumulated for our dreams. But we believed it was the best choice and proceeded with it. Seeing Michael a bit down, he said, "Our dream feels a bit distant now." "I'm sorry," lowering his eyes. Seeing that face, my love for Michael grew even stronger. "It's okay. The diner is picking up and we'll surely save money again. Besides, a new house is exciting, right? Let's live happily together," I said, trying to cheer him up. About the new house, Peter introduced us to a construction company that is new and seems to be trending. Our first choice was to rely on a different company that had been trusted in the local area for a long time. But my mother-in-law and Peter highly recommended it, and we were also busy preparing for the reopening of our shop, so we ended up entrusting it to them. And then the new house was completed. It's very modern and stylish, especially the first floor, designed to be comfortable even for older people. And on the second floor, there was an amazing kitchen that Michael would love. On the day of the housewarming for our new home, we gathered in high spirits. My mother-in-law, us as a couple, Peter and the rest. We celebrated the start in our new house and had a wonderful time together. On the day of the housewarming, my mother-in-law, sitting in a wheelchair, opened her mouth somewhat awkwardly. "Hey, I have something serious to talk about." Hearing this, a chilling feeling spread in our hearts. Such a tone usually meant some complicated news was coming. "Actually, I'm thinking of entrusting the diner to Peter. Since Peter and his family have promised to take care of me, this house might become theirs too. You two might want to go back to your old life in New York." Her words hit us like a bucket of cold water poured over our heads. The money we had paid, the diner that Michael rebuilt with sleepless nights, and the house we built to live together and care for her, all of it was going to be handed over to Peter so easily. Peter smiled confidently and said, "This house has turned out pretty nice, hasn't it? Don't worry about the diner or Mom, leave it to me." Michelle, too, with sparkling eyes, said excitedly, "This new kitchen seems really convenient. Can't wait to use it." That kitchen was specially designed for Michael. I was utterly disoriented. It was unbelievable and felt like a cruel joke. The cherished, old-fashioned, warm-hearted box of dishes that my father-in-law had treasured was suddenly deemed in the way by Peter. To put it more directly, my emotions were in turmoil. "All right, it's time for you to leave now." Her voice had an indescribable coldness, like a winter wind. For a moment, we felt frozen in place. Holding my husband's hand, I nodded silently and left the room. As we exited the house, the smug smiles of my mother-in-law and Peter were visible from behind. Just seeing that made my blood boil. "Mia, I'm sorry. I didn't expect this to happen." It was rare to see my husband cry. Seeing him like that, the small flame of anger inside me grew. But we couldn't be discouraged by this. Determined, I grabbed my phone and called my reliable friend, Rachel. "Hello. How have you been?" Upon telling her about the recent events, Rachel responded firmly. "Wait, are you both sure about this?" "Yes, we're definitely going down this path." Time passed and we, as a couple, decided to open a new restaurant cafe on a lovely corner in City A. On a breezy day, we were present at the opening event, serving as the chef and owner. Michael was the head chef, and I worked as the owner and in charge of publicity. Surprisingly, Rachel came from a family that owns a large piece of land in the City of A, and she herself had a great sense of business. She had always dreamt of starting something in this place, and while keeping an eye on Michael's family business, she offered us this opportunity. The content of the little secret talk I had with Rachel that night was precisely about this new business. Our dream of opening our own restaurant became a reality with Rachel's support. Thanks to the dishes made by Michael and the effective advertising I did, the restaurant became a hot topic even before its opening. And on that day, holding champagne in our hands, Rachel and I were having a great time in the restaurant. But suddenly, there was a surprised voice saying, what's this? Turning around, Peter and my mother-in-law were standing at the entrance with shocked expressions. "Why are you two here?" Michael asked with a hint of confusion but remained calm. "Huh? I had no idea you guys opened a restaurant so close by." The voice of the mother-in-law carried a mix of surprise and a bit of anxiety. "I think the quality of a store doesn't drop because of the surrounding environment. Maybe after Michael left, the food quality dropped, so the locals started looking for a different place. Look at the reviews on word-of-mouth sites." I replied with a bit of sympathy. Peter, his face turning bright red, hesitated a bit and then started to speak. "Even so, we can't expect them to cover the repair costs for that house. After all, it's a house we worked hard to build," Michael replied with a bit of concern. "That house. I never imagined it would have so many problems." Peter's voice trembled. "Actually, the two-family house we built had various issues. There were leaks when it rained, and the house itself was leaning. And the contractor that Peter had trusted disappeared as soon as problems arose. It seemed that Peter and his mother had really struggled with this. I've been thinking, wasn't the original plan to ask a local, reputable contractor?" Michael gently inquired. "But since Peter decided, we went with that contractor. Still, the contract was in your mother's name, so I don't think it's our responsibility, right? Also, I heard Michelle has already left the store. On top of the business struggles, taking care of the mother-in-law, she must have had a hard time too," I added with concern. Peter, trying to raise his voice, started, "I never imagined that." But then a cheerful sound interrupted him. The next moment, champagne was pouring over Peter's head like a shower. "Oops, sorry," Rachel said with a smile, holding the champagne bottle. "Peter, what goes around comes around, right? Besides, now is our celebration time. Don't disturb and please leave." Drenched in champagne, Peter and the surprised mother-in-law left the venue in embarrassment. We apologized to all the guests, repeatedly saying, "We are truly sorry," but deep down, we were relieved. Time really flies, doesn't it? It's already been a year. It seems that Peter and his mother's store didn't go well. Peter is now working at a nearby convenience store while taking care of his mother in their rundown house. I heard about it from a neighborhood granny recently. I used to receive calls from Peter and his mother asking for help, but now I just ignore them. On the other hand, we are having very busy days. Customers are constantly flocking for Michael's dishes and desserts, and we see new faces almost every day. Rachel often says, "This was the right choice." Riding on that wave, I've become somewhat of a business guru in City A, being sought after for advice by various stores. We found our father-in-law's old box. While sorting through the old dishes and trinkets, we made an unexpected discovery, a heartwarming handwritten note in our father-in-law's handwriting. "Michael, I'm sorry. What I wanted to leave for you was not constraints, but freedom and happiness. The antiques in this box, I believe, are quite valuable. Show them to an expert. I'm sure you'll be surprised," it read warmly. Touched by our father-in-law's intent to leave us something thoughtful till the end, we got teary-eyed. When we had the antiques appraised as a small surprise, they turned out to be worth more than we thought. But more than its monetary value, we cherish it as something filled with our father-in-law's love. We have no intention of selling it. Instead, we've placed it in a special spot in our home, and every day, while reminiscing about our times with our father-in-law, we spend peaceful and happy moments. I've planned a trip to Cancun this time. Huh? A trip to Cancun. Hearing my mother-in-law say this with a smile, I harbored doubts. Despite being burdened with a huge debt and struggling to make monthly repayments, why travel abroad? Moreover, despite the fact that I send money every month, why is she going to Cancun alone? I absolutely cannot accept this. This is no joke. As I raised my voice in anger, my mother-in-law looked puzzled. Yes, this was all my husband's scheme. I was shocked by this certain truth revealed by my mother-in-law. My name is Amy. I am 35 years old, working as a regular employee at a general company, living an ordinary life. 5 years have passed since I married Kevin. We had been living peaceful days without any major problems. However, suddenly a great trial appeared before us as a couple. This series of events was triggered by the recent death of my father-in-law. My father-in-law was a man of few words but gentle in nature, always caring for us as a couple. Thanks to him, I felt naturally integrated into my husband's family. That's why I couldn't accept his death. One evening, a little after his funeral, when things had calmed down, my husband suddenly started talking at dinner. "Hey, Amy, it's weird to talk about this all of a sudden, but is something wrong? Actually, I've been thinking about starting to financially support my parents' house from next month." "Support? Why would you do that?" "Since my father passed away, I think my mother is struggling on her own." "Wait a minute." I quickly interrupted my husband. "Your father's passing is sad, but your sister is living in your parents' house, right?" "Yes, that's right, but my husband has a sister living at home. She works for a prestigious company and earns much more than my husband." My father-in-law had also worked for a well-known company until his retirement. The retirement money should be with my mother-in-law. On the other hand, we, as a couple, work for small to medium-sized companies. Our income is probably lower than the average for our age group. In such a situation, I couldn't understand why we needed to send money to my mother-in-law. "Kevin, I don't think your mother and sister are struggling with money. So why send money?" When I asked this, an unbelievable answer came back. "Actually, it seems rich on the surface, but my mom has a considerable amount of debt." "What?" "My mother-in-law has such a huge debt." Yes, it's hard to believe, but it's true. But for some reason, she hasn't told my sister about the debt at all. That's why I brought up this idea to somehow help her. "But what about your father's retirement money?" "Actually, it seems that most of it went to his hospital bills, surgery costs, and funeral expenses. So now, my mom is really in a tough financial situation." "That's a really difficult situation." "Yes, it is. That's why I know I'm asking a lot, but I really want to help her." Seeing him bow his head deeply, I was torn. My mother-in-law had helped us, as a couple, many times before. While I was looking for my current job, she actively took over all the household chores in my stead and often came to cook dinner. Moreover, when my husband changed jobs and we were short of living expenses, she secretly gave him money. I was always full of gratitude for her kindness, and every time I thanked her, she returned with polite words of gratitude. Thanks to her support, we had overcome many difficulties. Now that she was in trouble, I couldn't just overlook it. Considering the favors we had received so far, I strongly felt the desire to help her. With those feelings, after a little hesitation, I eventually agreed to my husband's proposal. From that day, to support my mother-in-law financially, we became stricter about saving. We were not living luxuriously in the first place, but still, we simplified our meals even more and switched to cheaper items for daily use. My husband started working late every day and came home late at night more often. And then, an incident occurred during these days. Perhaps due to accumulated fatigue, I developed a fever and fell ill. When I was preparing to go to the hospital after calling in sick to work, my husband said, "Wait a minute, are you really going to the hospital?" "Yes, I am." "Just a fever, isn't it? There's no need to go to the hospital for a mild fever, especially when we need to save money." "What?" I was surprised by his words, but managed to argue back. "But what if it's a viral fever like the flu? We have fever reducers at home, right? Just take those and rest. You'll get better. Going to the hospital is a waste of money." "That's not true. Listen to me. No matter what, don't go to the hospital. We're saving money, remember." After hearing those words, I had no choice but to rest at home, and ended up being bedridden for 3 days. Since then, my distress towards my husband gradually began to increase. Months later, to check on my mother-in-law's well-being, we visited my husband's parents' house. As I stepped into the living room, clothes and travel bags were scattered everywhere. Were you in the middle of sorting something out? I asked, and my mother-in-law replied with a beaming smile. Oh, actually, I'm going to Cancun this time. A trip to Cancun. Yes, that's right. Sarah said she would come with me. Amy, how about you? Do you want to come along? Really? As I was surprised, my sister-in-law, Sarah, next to me started clapping her hands with joy, saying, "That's a great idea. Wait, what is this?" We've been sending them money, and they're happily planning a trip to Cancun. This can't be happening. Without noticing my speechlessness, my mother-in-law and sister-in-law continued to excitedly talk about the Cancun trip. I'm so excited. It's my first time in Cancun. My mother-in-law said, and Sarah replied, "Me too. And it's surprisingly affordable this time of year." Exactly, Amy. Don't worry. If you can come with us, we'll cover the travel expenses. My mother-in-law continued, "Really? We've been so grateful to you ever since Kevin got married," added Sarah. Unaware of my feelings, they were engrossed in their conversation. Finally reaching my limit, I confronted my smiling mother-in-law and sister-in-law, who were inviting me to the trip. Stop joking. A trip abroad. What are you really thinking? I raised my voice. What? Startled by my sudden reproach, my mother-in-law and sister-in-law froze with their mouths open. Even though they were shaken, they tried to calm me down. Amy, what's wrong? Did we say something odd? Maybe you don't like traveling? Did we invite you too forcefully? It's not about that. How can you even think of inviting me on a trip? Do you understand our situation? Amy, calm down. What caused you to be so angry? Really? If you have the means to go on a trip, I'd rather you pay off your debts first. What? Debts? I let all my feelings out towards them. We can hardly save money, and even when I'm sick, we can't afford to go to the hospital, yet we prioritize sending you money. And yet, how can you calmly plan a trip abroad? Please consider our situation a little. After pouring out all my emotions, I noticed tears streaming down my cheeks. Whether it was anger, sadness, or both, I wasn't sure. However, I was certain that the frugal lifestyle until now had been more painful than I thought. While crying, I collapsed on the spot. Seeing this, my husband rushed over in surprise. Hey, you! What are you saying to my mom? But, that's enough. We're going home. Kevin tried to pull me up forcefully. At that moment, my mother-in-law spoke up quietly. Wait a minute. What debts are you talking about? What? But didn't you have a huge debt? Surprised by my response, my mother-in-law's expression changed. There's no such thing. There's still my husband's pension and inheritance left. And I wouldn't be able to go on an overseas trip if I had debts. What? But in that instant, I realized the full picture of the situation. Anger welled up inside me. The reason why my husband's income didn't increase despite his daily overtime. Why I was the only one getting thinner and sick, despite the strict savings. And why my usually polite mother-in-law never thanked us for the money we sent. Then, I faced a shocking truth. The need for sending money, as my husband had been saying, was actually a fabrication. There was never a need to send them money. I could have gone to the doctor immediately when I got sick. I would have realized it if I had thought about it a bit more. Realizing this made the pointlessness of our past frugal life evident. But in our financially tight life, it had been hard to make a calm judgment. My mother-in-law and sister-in-law on the scene seemed to realize the truth behind my husband's words. They looked at Kevin with a doubtful gaze. Kevin, what's the meaning of this? Amy says she was sending money because you had debts. What's all this about? Kevin was clearly looking for an excuse. No, it's different. Actually, how is it different? Explain it clearly. Make us understand. Talk properly. Well, I could see that he was still trying to control the situation. My love for him had completely faded. I confronted my confused husband directly. What's all this about? There were no debts for your mother or sister. Where did all the money I gave you every month go? He began to mumble his words. Well, don't lie now. Tell me everything. The truth he revealed was something I found hard to accept. Actually, I was invited by a colleague and ended up going to nightclubs. You've been going to a nightclub? Yeah, well, how should I put it? I just got carried away without realizing it. I can't believe it. Going to such places when it hasn't been long since your father passed away. And that was around the time you started talking about sending money, right? I'm sorry, really sorry. I just went there for a bit of a change of pace. I didn't think it was a big deal. Such an excuse can't be accepted. How can you behave so irresponsibly? Lying about sending money and using my hard-earned money for going to nightclubs. I can never forgive that. No, it's not like that. I never meant to hurt you, Amy. I just got a bit carried away, that's all. I really regret it. As I shouted, my husband tried to appease me, piling up lies. But trust once lost, even but when husband and wife, is not easily regained. His impromptu lies and insincere attitude completely extinguished my love for him. No matter how long his apologies continued, I couldn't forgive him in my heart. I couldn't bear it anymore. I felt it was impossible to continue living with someone who lied to satisfy his own desires. With despair welling up from the depths of my heart, I told my husband my final words. I'm fed up. Saying I didn't intend to hurt you is no joke at all. Not only did you deceive me with lies, but how much do you need to belittle me? While I had a fever, you forced me to save money and enjoyed yourself in nightclubs? Unbelievable. Sarah's voice of surprise echoed in the background as I continued indignantly. I've been saving hard for your dear mother. Food, daily necessities, clothing. I've been enduring it all. Do you understand that effort? I can't even think of you as a family anymore. Such a scumbag should just go to hell. Just wait. I only went to nightclubs. Just that? The drinks you enjoyed with the money saved while I was sick must have tasted great. No, it was for work. I don't want to hear it anymore. I'm leaving. Wait, Amy, please, I need you. What? Now? Have as much fun as you want in the nightclubs and see how it feels. Don't say that. By the way, I want all the money I gave you as support back. Make sure you pay it all back. Realizing the situation, my mother-in-law and sister-in-law hurriedly showed a posture of apology. Amy, I'm really sorry. I can't believe my foolish son did such a thing. It's truly shameful. Because of my thoughtless brother. Mother, Sarah, please don't apologize. It's not your fault. No, we have a responsibility too. We want to make amends somehow. Amy, I'm so sorry too. My brother has caused such trouble. Don't worry about it. But I've decided to divorce. I'm truly grateful to both of you, but please let me say goodbye. They nodded while shedding tears. Mother, Sarah, thank you for everything until now. At that moment, my husband called out to me with a pained voice. He knelt on the spot and continued to make excuses. Amy, please forgive me. I really regret what I've done until now. Before I could react, Sarah moved first and slapped my husband across the face. As he stood there stunned with a swollen cheek, Sarah looked down at him and said, I can't believe you would do something so terrible. How much more did you need to torment Amy? Sarah, lying to Amy to take the money meant for supporting the family, not allowing her to go to the hospital, and on top of that, spending that money at nightclubs. How can you be so heartless? I'm ashamed to be your sister. Wait, just hear me out. What's the point now? The fact that you've been forcing Amy to save and suffer for these past few months is true, isn't it? Mom and I will never forgive you. Never associate with us again. Do you understand? Don't ever show your face to us again. My sister-in-law, holding back tears, forcibly dragged my husband out and threw him outside. She locked the door and cut off all communication with my husband. No matter how much he pleaded at the entrance, the door was not opened. Amy, I'm really sorry. There's not much I can say now, but forget about that man and find happiness. With those words, I was hugged tightly by my sister-in-law. After expressing my gratitude, I left my in-laws' house. Then, I moved out of the house where I lived with my husband and found a new place near my workplace. Since I was already employed permanently, I didn't face much difficulty in living even after the divorce. I consulted a lawyer I knew to proceed with the divorce. It was clear that my husband was at fault, and the divorce was quickly finalized. I claimed the money he fraudulently took from me as support and the resulting compensation. I made sure to collect the maximum amount. He ended up having to pay the compensation in a lump sum and is now living days incomparably harder than before. I hear he is consumed with endless overtime and working through the night. Naturally, he no longer has time to frequent the nightclubs he used to enjoy. Now, he's just an existence who works. After the divorce, I received several messages from my ex-husband. I was wrong, forgive me. I'm not going to nightclubs anymore. I don't want to get back together. I'm just really in trouble. Can you lend me some money? Please, you're the only one I can rely on. In the end, it's all about money. I feel nothing but pity for him. Now that all the payments are finished, I'm thinking of blocking his contact. Meanwhile, I still keep in touch with my mother-in-law and sister-in-law. They worry about me and have been in regular contact even after the divorce. Just the other day, seeing me having regained my spirits, my mother-in-law showed tears. Amy, I'm so happy to see you doing well. Mother, don't worry about me. I can live on my own strength. I always thought you'd be okay, Amy. But remember, you can always rely on me and Sarah if you need anything. Thank you so much. Let's go to Cancun together next time, just the three of us. Of course, I'm looking forward to it. If it weren't for the support of my mother-in-law and sister-in-law, I couldn't have overcome the trial of divorce. Since they always wish for my happiness, I vow to live my life with all my strength.